Well, good morning out there in Howard Hanna land as you wake up on hopefully a sunny day wherever you are. I know there's supposed to be some rain clouds coming in, but we'll give everybody a chance to register. We're really excited about today's town hall. I've got my good friend Charles Williams IV. He's another fourth, so there's very few of us in the world. So, but we'll give everybody a chance to register. It's going to be we're gonna have some fun today, talking to the not only the CEO and founder, but one of the great entrepreneurs and innovators in our industry, in the real estate business, that's really developed this buy-side platform. So I'm really excited for all of our agents that come in today to get to meet Charles, if you haven't, but also, we've really added what we think are some wonderful technology tools and part of our tech deck, and to have the innovator of the company itself be with us today. Charles, thank you. I really appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule. So we'll give everybody, like always, a chance to jump on and, go ahead and say hello as you jump on, and hopefully everybody's doing well out there. So I know Kate, I think we had about 700 or 800 people pre-register, which is sort of our Friday morning norms. And we'll just get close to that number as it comes on.
You're getting all the good mornings, and people are very excited to see you again. I think they missed you last week.
Oh, I'm sure everybody really missed. You really wanted to listen to me on Friday morning of Memorial Day weekend. But
just a reminder about the Q&A and the chat. So if anyone does have any questions, like always, please put it in the Q&A, especially when we're doing some of our MarTech features. That way I can look at them after the fact and we can really get some answers to you, make an FAQ at the end. So please make sure that you put those in the Q&A.
All right. And Kate, you did a buy-side training class this week, didn't you?
I did. I did buy-side, all things buy-side and Howard Hanna. So it was a little bit more in-depth from the initial buy-side webinar I did. It actually shows how it integrates with e-cards and the Hanna presentations and all that good stuff. So that's online as well.
Great. Good. All right. Well, so we're gonna get going here. I think we've got some more people coming on as we get ready. We just try to give everybody a chance, but we're gonna get started. And again, as Kate said, if you can do us a favor, and if you can remember to share your questions in the Q&A that you may have for Charles or me this morning, that'd be great. Before we jump into it with Charles, though, I wanted to say a few things that to the whole Howard Hanna company, employees, agents, managers, everybody. I just can't say how impressed I've been through this whole pandemic of how you've all worked, handled your clients, your customers, with all of the challenges that we've dealt with different governmental regulations and so forth. And the numbers for May, I got a sneak peek at the preliminary numbers. I can't believe the amount of sales and listings that you're all participating in and bringing to the market. It's just incredible. And that's really without New York. New York, we've got our fingers crossed that this afternoon they put you into phase 2. I've got Fred now, think that's coming in the next 24 hours. And with that happening, there's no questions anymore about whether we can sell virtual, whether you can be in person, whether you can be with your customers, whether it's an inspection. And I think once that happens, and we'll have all markets really, as I say, engaged to do business completely with clear definition, I think we're going to see this real estate tsunami, all the push out that was there and the storm coming back in. So it's going to be a great time through this summer to make up for this marketplace. But again, I can't express as much how much you've all really been diligent through this process. I'm just proud to be part of your company through this. So thank you. So, all right, we're going to jump into this. And Charles is, as I said, he is not only the CEO, but the founder and the innovator of Buy-Side. And we are really honored. I'm honored to have Charles here. And Buy-Side we launched 2 months ago throughout the whole company, through both Howard Hanna and Tate was about a month before. And Charles and I were chatting a little bit this morning before we launched, and he said to me, I'm prepared to ask Charles a whole bunch of questions. We've been talking the last couple of days. You're going to see in his presentation that we've sort of taken some of the best questions that have come in and put it out there for to keep us on track. But what I'd really like to reference is that Charles asked me the question: Why did Howard Hanna invest in buy side? Why did we beginning of end of 19, beginning of 20? Why did we bring buy side in into our tech deck and our integration? And so I thought I'd give you my why, because we're going to talk a lot about the why of buy side and how Charles created it. But my why, so as our agents understand, at our core, we're a listing company. We're a company that focuses on listings, which we'll get to, Charles, we'll get to you on sort of like buy side and how that affects listings, the name. But we're a listing company. And I've seen Charles develop his product from a valuation tool. And originally, maybe I looked at it and said, okay, evaluation tool's great. We can have those on our websites. Are we giving away too much information to the seller? Where's the value proposition of Howard Hanna if we're just showing valuation tools? And then I saw Charles develop his technology around it, the interaction of that valuation tool. And then what he always had, is he opened his architecture. The thing that got me really excited last year was seeing that how he was able to integrate the lead management, the leads from howardhanna.com, the leads from Open to Close, the leads from Real Scout, the leads from everything we do within our whole tech deck, how many times we touch somebody, and be able to sit there and go, the real value proposition is say, here's how I can get you more money for your home, and here's how I can sell it faster because I do have all the information. I have all the where the buyers are coming from and how we can say we can target market to these people right away and make a difference. And that to me is where this is a game changer, that we can increase our listing share, we can increase our listing market share, and really integrate, create a market per se in listings. And Lord knows we need them right now because the buyers are there. And once Charles and I started talking in the fall, and then the final piece for me is when he worked with MoxieWorks to integrate all that data, that market analysis, that lead management to be put into Hanna presentations, to our tool with MoxieWorks. To me, it was a no-brainer. It wasn't a separate portal you had to look at, a separate step. We could drive traffic from our website, but you as agents could drive direct traffic on your listing presentations, a pre-listing presentation. And it's amazing some of the success stories that I've heard in the last 2 months of agents actually using buy side to get listings virtually without even being in a house, by talking valuation, talking that here's the buyers we have. So Charles, I thank you for creating this great company and tool and giving us the opportunity to really work with you with this and integrate it. So just a little background, but so Charles, good morning. And
good morning. Good morning, Howard Hanna land and Alan Tate land.
Yeah. So I got to ask, is there I see some pictures behind you. Is there a Charles V?
There is actually, Charles. These are my youngest programmers. I just got them started. Got to start young.
Yes.
Funny story, actually. This is Charles Joseph Williams V. And then this is Callan Alexander Williams. We didn't find out till after we named Callan, but apparently it's Old Gaelic. Callan is for Little Charles.
Oh.
So I have two, kind of like George Foreman has.
I was going to say.
I got two kids named Charles.
So that's good. It's a lot of pressure if you're a fourth to actually name a fifth. I've got Howard William Hanna V. He's probably still sleeping somewhere. School is over, but and a lot of pressure to end that lineage. You get more pressure from mothers and grandmothers and aunts and sisters than maybe you do from yourself. But
yeah, that's what my wife kind of said. Is like, I don't have it. She's like, basically like, obviously we know who we're naming the first one. I just get second choice.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, good point.
Well, that's great. That's great. Well, so thanks I know you're in Philly, right?
Yes. Yeah. Just outside of Philadelphia, King of Prussia area, Villanova area.
Good. So I know that, I know you told me you've been working every day, not always at home. And so but I appreciate you get up early on a Friday morning and being with our company. So thank you. So, Charles, so you and I have known each other for years and seen the industry, but everybody on this call doesn't necessarily. So tell us a little bit about yourself. why you started buy side, what your vision was, because I think the why is important to not just the tool itself. But before we jump into that, why did you start buy side, and give us some background on you?
Sure. Yeah, I appreciate it. First of all, I do want to say thank you to Hoby and Helen and Dan and Kate and the rest of the team. First of all, Howard Hanna is known as an innovative company, as a forefront in the country in real estate. And so to be associated and be able to bring our technologies is a real honor for us. So really appreciate it for not just that, but also the opportunity to kind of come on the call this morning. So I really appreciate it. Also with me is Caitlin Grubb. Say hi, Caitlin, who's your dedicated success manager for the Howard Hanna team and Alan Tate team. So yeah, to a little bit background, I'm a third generation real estate professional, which means my mother is a broker in upstate New York, actually. And my grandfather was in real estate. My aunts, my cousins, all came from real estate. So naturally, when it came time for me to pick a major and go to college, I naturally picked electrical engineering. It made total sense, right?
Yep.
Good segue. So I worked for General Electric for about 10 years, and I was also buying and selling at night. I bought, sold personally 20 times by the age of 30. So I found a real niche in being able to find the buyers for the property. And agents would always ask me, hey, Charles, how do you find the buyers? How do you sell your property so quickly? And I give them a little bit of insight. I'd say, really? I don't look for the buyer. I'm like, what? I say, I look for the agents with the buyers. Like, oh, okay. Well, think about it. Agents have pre-qualified their buyers or pre-screened them. It was a lot easier than doing shotgun marketing. And I said, you know what? You have all the listings in one place. Well, don't you have a system like that in your own office where you can look up all the agents that have buyers? And the answer was like, well, we have weekly office meetings where agents stand up and say, I have a brand new buyer, or they have mass emails that get sent out. And I just hit me. I'm like, this is nuts. That there is no one central place where you could see, like, every marketplace has supply and demand. Remember Econ 101, a chart pricing? But real estate, there was no insight into demand. And the thought was, how powerful could it be if agents, if brokers, if managers, if recruiters, if they all had insight into real-time demand, just like you have insight into real-time supply. In fact, I'd ask brokers all the time, how many listings do you have? Like this. How many 3-bedroom, 2-bath listings? Like that, where they could find it a couple clicks. Right. How many buyers are working with your agents? How do you not, like, that's half the inventory. Right. And the reason is it's all in many different places, and we'll go through that a little bit. That was one of the questions that came in. So that's kind of how it started. Myself and another grad student coded the first version, got it out there, and we just kind of grew from there. We've got thousands of brokerages on the platform, leveraging it, pulling in the buy side data to help list to last, which is the real key, as you mentioned a few minutes ago, Hoby. So that's kind of a little bit backstory about how buy side came to be and where we are today.
No, that's great. So with that, the name, okay, so I just get it. You sit there, you looked at listings. Real estate companies are focused on listings, and you're helping our agents to get listings, but the name buy side, like, that's always confused me. I have to be honest. Like, I was like, why don't they just call it list side? What's the buy side? So can you elaborate on that? I know that's one of the questions I asked you before. So,
I mean, it's perfect, right? So to us, nobody has been able to articulate what demand is. And there's no better word to articulate one side of the market than buy side. And using it to generate listings and winning listings, that's part of it. But there's other opportunities to leverage the buy side, whether it's in pricing, a whole bunch of others we'll go through in a minute. And the thought for us is, if as an agent, if as a brokerage, if we can help deliver the power of buy side to a brokerage, to the agents, if we can deliver the power of buy side, how could they use that? And one of it is in generating listings, right? If you think about what do buyers want, they want the listings. And what do listings or sellers want, they want the buyers. So if agents are powered with buy side, if they have the power of buy side behind them and the knowledge and the information behind it, how powerful could they be? And that's sort of the point behind it, is not just us, but y'all owning buy side. And that's how we look at ourselves, as the most comprehensive resource on real-time demand. That's what we set out to do. One of the analogies I like to use is a water hose. You can kind of picture a water hose with all the listings and information, IDX, right, going through and flowing through. It's pretty clean. But what happens when it hits all those IDX sites, right, all over the place? Think of that like a sprinkler head, right? So the water's going through, hits a sprinkler head, and it goes all over the place. That's what the marketplace is with buy side. There's the information data of consumers searching is all over. Like you mentioned earlier, Hoby, you have buyers all over the place, whether they're on the Moxie platform, on Constellation, on the websites, on Booge website down at Allen Tate. You syndicate listings to Zillow and Realtor.com and Homes.com and HousesForSpouses.com and all these. They're in Real Scout. They're signing into open houses on Spacio, right? Yep. The buyers are all over the place. And so what we set out to do is, again, pull all that information together rather than an agent, downloading a spreadsheet out of their Zillow account or whatever, and downloading from Real Scout and then downloading from Spacio and then trying to pull it all together. We said, let's do that for all agents. Let's do that for the entire brokerage and anonymize it and really bring that power of the buy side to the agents. And these are the three main use cases that we've then taken that power of buy side and translated it, cleaned it up for everybody. This is what we do for a living. We manage the data and cleanse the data and drive insight from it. One major way is to generate and capture seller leads or listing leads. And we'll show you how agents are doing that. Another way is to use that intelligence of the buy side and the power of the buy side in a listing presentation and how you can really stand out above the competition. And then lastly, once you win that listing, how can you target market that listing directly to the buyers, no matter what platform they're on, agnostic, whether they're on a Real Scout or Spacio or Zillow, it doesn't matter, right? Buyers have tons of choices today. So we pull it all in so you could see here are the 53 people that have looked at, clicked at, favorited, shared something similar. So that's really the essence behind the name, is delivering the power of the buy side and the intelligence of the buy side to the brokerages and to the agents.
I think that's brilliant. And I love for you to be able to explain that, because I couldn't in the same capacity. I love this graph right here, this funnel, because I mean, for years, you're 100% right. I mean, this goes back to the early 2000s when everybody was sending their internet leads everywhere, so it's like, whether it's IDX, whether it's syndication, and we even tried as a company saying, hey, let's control where we're sending our data and sort of put some requirements and make sure the leads are coming back to agents as best as possible, knowing that that doesn't, you don't always, the models change, the Zillows change where they're not giving you your leads back. Realtor.com is looking at changing, but we put those things, and then we have agents who are buying information back and through howardhanna.com and everywhere else. But when you go on a listing appointment, the real difference maker, just to win a listing, and I know we'll talk about that more, is to be able in one button say, aggregated from all those places, here's how many buyers that we know at Howard Hanna that we can reverse prospect to, that we can reach out the minute we list your house. And hey, we might be able to challenge the market and get more of a price because of the number of buyers. But just, I just think it's genius. And then there also is capturing seller leads. So let's start with that, because, right now we know that more than ever, we need listings. I mean, I just for everybody out there, I did a global study of all of our markets at Howard Hanna and Tate combined. We have about a two and a half month supply of inventory right now. So at the pace we've been selling and the pace we've been moving, if we'd be out of business in 2.5 months, because we knew listing inventory was down going into this pandemic, and it's gotten even worse. And so we've got to be creative to how do we create more listings in this market, knowing full well, by the way, like our mortgage companies, the collective group of them, their pre-approvals in the last month are up 42% over last year. So we have sitting right now in this time and space at the end of May, we have 42% more buyers already pre-approved to launch into the market. And we know June and July are just going to see that. But, the fear is we could wake up without listings. So we've got agents on board here. Charles, how are you going to help them get more listings with the power of buy side and get more seller leads?
Yeah, so awesome question. I think before I directly get into it, I want to kind of talk about, like you said earlier, Hoby, it's about the why. Like, why are we doing this? Like, we're taking all the buy side and delivering that power to the agents, and you're going to use it in listings. And there's been a number of agents that have not only won listings, but have got under contract, multi-million-dollar listings already just in the 60 days. And I'll show you some of those stories. But one of the important things that you mentioned earlier is about the why. Why are we doing this? Why are we helping? Why is the data important to deliver it? And you folks like Brian and Dan on your team that really understand where all this data is coming from and these signals are coming from. And to sort of tell the story, real estate, everybody on the phone here, right, is an agent. Like I said, my mother's an agent. It's all about telling the story to your clients so it resonates with them. And so if we could talk about innovation as that sort of story and why Howard Hanna and you as a Howard Hanna agent have been so innovative and are continuing to be so innovative, it's really key to tell that story and that sort of backstory. And one of the things I like to start with is sort of the advent of the internet and how that's gotten to us where we are today.
Great.
So you've heard the term probably Web 1.0, which is sort of the information superhighway, right? Information is just kind of blasted out there and shared and posted and all that. And it's just all over the place, right? And you go back to the history of the internet. Does anybody know when the internet first started? Anybody out there on the line? Feel free to chatter away in the comments. And no, Al Gore did not start the internet, like many probably think. Maybe some thought it was, back in the information sharing, right? I mean, that's really the internet is information sharing, being able to pull down information, and the library and the Dewey Decimal System, right? Prehistoric Googling back in the day. 1444.
That's when you're going to say the internet started.
1444.
I like the guesses that were coming in, like the 80s, the military started it, the 90s. All right, so 1444, because now we're getting all kinds of whats and WTFs coming in. And so, all right.
Who's this guy? Ask everybody, who's this guy right here? Does anybody know who this guy is?
It's Galileo. I'm going to take
That's a good guess. Looks kind of like Galileo. I guess everybody looked that back in the day.
Nostradamus. Okay.
Johannes Gutenberg. What was he famous for? The printing press. Yep. Talk about sharing of information, right? Before Gutenberg, do you know how information was shared? Monks. Monks would write by hand, and basically they would write copies of the Bible. And that's how the Bible is one of the very first distributions of information. That's where you would get your information back in 1444. All right, there was the monks writing the Bible out. And along came Gutenberg and created the printing press. That allowed scale, right? Distribution of information on a much larger scale, right? That's what, right? Think about the internet of sharing that information. So he was able to take it from manual and start bringing that innovation towards sharing. So bad news for the monks. It kind of put them out of business. But there is a silver lining here. There's a good story. They found a new business, wine. Here, right? So there's a good silver lining to every story here. But that kind of got things started, right? A little bit of a history lesson. We can fast forward a little bit. 1926. You know who this man is?
Tesla.
Little hint at the bottom there, Tesla, right? People thought he was nuts. People thought he was crazy about it, sharing information much more fast, much more over much greater distances. And then Gutenberg really kicked it up a notch. And yeah, he was crazy. A lot of innovators looked at as a little nuts. I mean, look, what do we think of Elon Musk today, right? Little nuts up. But the guy knows what he's doing. He thinks way far in advance, and he helps bring that innovation to the masses. And just look at what Tesla said in 1926. We shall be able to communicate with one another instantly, irrespective of distance. Right? What's he talking about there? Phones, right? Telephones.
Mm-hmm.
Not only this, but through television and telephony, we shall see and hear each other perfectly as we were face to face. Television, that stuff wasn't invented yet. Like, this is just nuts that he's thinking so far ahead, despite intervening distances of thousands of miles. And the instruments that will do all this is going to fit in our vest pockets. What's he talking about there?
I'd say this.
1926.
Yep.
This is just
Amazing.
nuts, right? Amazing.
Yep.
And I know everybody's thinking, yeah, okay, I had the great idea of a cell phone or a phone back in the day, and you probably did, but maybe this is more what you were thinking about a cell phone, right? This is FaceTime back in 1976, right?
Yep.
But innovators, yeah, they're a little nutso sometimes, and they think out the end, but they push the boundaries and they continue to think different. But this is how information started. This is how information sharing. And the more people became available to them, think about Web 2.0 kicking in, right? The social web, where not only you are able to pull down information, but you are able to share information, provide back information. And this is critical, especially when it comes time to thinking about buy side and knowing who's searching right now, because now people start engaging with the internet, right? Now the Zillows are empowered, and the howardhannas.com are now start becoming empowered. And it all started in 1985. Does anybody remember this? I know I probably got some young people on the phone saying, what the hell is that? Sorry for the French on a Friday morning. What the heck is that? You know, this is, you get this in the mail, right?
I remember getting those in the mail. I think I threw them away because I wasn't much of a computer guy. And I was like, what is this? You know, but
I came from 4 boys, and man, could these things fly like frisbees, right? Tossing those things. But yeah, this was AOL, America Online. You remember that sounds? You got mail. That was beautiful, right? Now you're on the information superhighway.
We just got my mother off of her AOL account. You know?
That's right. Hotmail, AOL. This is back in the day. You're right. Some people still have it.
Yep.
But that was it. Back in the day, if you were on AOL, man, everybody would come over to your house, and right, you can go online, you could start sending emails, and now you're contributing to the internet, right?
Yep.
Fast forward 2004, people, more and more, it's scaling, right? Gutenberg, man, this is blowing his mind from 1440. Now people, everybody's printing, right? And billions of people are sharing, right? Every 2 years, the internet doubles. The amount of data and information is doubling. This is very, very important. It's important to tell the story too when you think about with your clients. Like, there are people searching everywhere, people doing lots of things. They're sharing, liking, favoring your properties. This is the access that people now have on the internet. And so we've been able to fast forward to today of using this inside of real estate in a much grander fashion. It's now keeping up with all these activities, and we don't even say data anymore. We say signals, all these behaviors and these pings. So that was one of the questions. I don't know, Hoby, you know, since these came in, maybe you want to expand on this one a little bit here. A sort of segue of, you know, taking this from all this information and dialing it forward to today.
Yeah, and we sort of, as we not seeing that part of your presentation, but so all that information, I think the challenge we've had in real estate is figuring out how we understand consumer behavior, how we understand not just from, I think the best real estate agents have always been those who've networked, you know, before the age of the internet and before all this open communication, where the best agents going back, like when I started in the business, those, you mentioned those like sales meetings, those Monday sales meetings where you'd come in and people would say, I have a buyer and this is what the buyer's looking at. Or I'd be in my office in Squirrel Hill and Bernie Kuhn, who was sort of a mentor, one of our top agents, I'd sit listening to her looking for where she could find listings. And I wasn't afraid to call for sale by owners or cold call a neighborhood. So she would say to me, I've got this buyer who is looking in this neighborhood. I can't find anything for sale. Her desk was right next to me. I would just pick up and start calling the neighborhood and say, okay, I got 2 showings for you, Bernie. And we'd put a deal together. And that was the technique in those days. That was how business was done. That's why we encouraged people to come into offices. We didn't have private offices. We had cubicles so you could talk to people right across from you and make deals and communicate. Well, the industry starts to change. We work more remotely. We're doing more online. All this technology comes to play today. We have a better response to leads. So is real estate, are we unique or are we really figuring out how we take that data to make smarter decisions? So, you know, your thoughts there.
Yeah, exactly. So it's information overload, right? You've got so much data and information is what folks say, is how do you sort of distill it And, we talked about the name buy side, and yeah, it helps you. Could have called it list side. But to us, the power of buy side is much more than that. And that's what we've learned from other industries is if you knew what the demand was, how can you leverage that? Yeah, it's to get new inventory, but there's other ways. And there's no better company to look at than Amazon, in our view. Think about Amazon, right? How many people just like, I mean, I literally ordered, I think 100% of my Christmas presents from Amazon, right? Everybody's on, whether it's your Hanukkah presents, any seasonal, right? Anything. I mean, shoot, I don't know if you like get to be an addict, but I got something on my doorstep the other day, Amazon box. I completely forgot what I ordered. I mean, that's how well ingrained Amazon is. So they're known as a buy-side marketplace, right?
Right.
And people go there, right? They go there to buy games, toys, electronics, food, whatever, clothes. They're buying lots of things. And there's inventory, just like Howard Hanna and Alan Tate, and there's inventory. But what makes Amazon so powerful when you really look at what they do is because they own the buy side. They know exactly who's going to buy what, when, where, how, why. They know everything about the buyer intent. They're taking all these signals every time you click or like or favor, put something in your cart. And the way they use that is, to get more listings, and we'll talk about that, but they use it in many different ways. They use it in pricing, they use it in their marketing, they use it in their recruiting, in their operations, and give you some examples. I don't know if you've ever put something in your cart, Hoby or Kate online, and you've noticed, you come back to it, right? You get distracted, or you come back a day later, all of a sudden the item says that, you get a notification says that item just changed from $17.59 to $17.89. What? Why is that, and how do they do that? Well, supply and demand. Remember Econ 101? Not only do they know what the supply is, but they also know what the demand is. How many people are looking for that Rawlings basketball? And they use that in their recruiting as well, right? So now they can go to Nike and Rawlings and Spalding and Under Armour and say, hey, we had 2,000 people in Shadyside look for a basketball in the last 24 hours. You've got to ramp up your inventory. You got to sell on our platform. So they use that power of the buy side. They use it in their operations. Here's a word for the day on a Friday: anticipatory shipping. Everybody know what anticipatory shipping is?
Yeah.
This is really, really cool. But this is before you click buy now on Amazon. Before they have already shipped that item and it's on its way to your local distribution center. That's how well that they know your behaviors and people like you in the past. And that's how they get it to you in 1-2 days, pre-virus. I know like me, a lot of things have taken a while. But that insight on demand and the buy side is how they've incorporated that into all parts of their business. Travel industry does the same thing. Have you ever looked at a flight from Pittsburgh to Chicago and it was $388 on United? It was $388 on Delta, and maybe it was $387 on Southwest or whatever. Like, how do they do that? How do they all have very similar pricing? Well, there's one central database behind all the different airlines, and they're able to see what people are searching for, what people are clicking on, what people are using Kayak, and they're able to aggregate all that demand and to be able to have intelligence. And so a lot of these industries have taken not just supply, but also demand. Dating, let's skip the dating one.
Well, Charles, let me jump in. I'm just to jump in here. And I think, because I'm just looking at some of the, not to cut you off, but looking at some of the
let's go.
I think it's great. Like I think what you've been able to share with us so far is why. And as I said at the beginning, that's important. Why did we invest in this? Why did we bring you onto our platform? Why do we invest? And I think what I'm seeing is agents are starting to get it, that, the technology has changed, communication has changed. There's all these different sources. And yes, you're right. In looking at the future of us as a company, looking at what Amazon does, look at what dating does, look at what airlines does, this predictive shipping, it's more or less the same thing. Where's the market today? So if we go back and let's talk about how we're using buy side. So, let's start with, how can an agent gain, go back to that, gain more listings? How do they use the tool to reach out to their clients and customers and get them into a discussion, get them into a conversation of not only the value of their home, which we could do before we launched with Buyside, and other companies have valuation tools. We all know Zillow has their Zestimate, but how do we go from, how does Buyside help our agents reach out to their clients, their customers, their past friends, their sphere, say, hey, I want to talk to you not only about the valuation of your house in Squirrel Hill, but I also want to know about the demand, the predictive shipping. Like sort of, how do we get to that, how do we get to that concept in real estate where we're matching things up and saying to a seller, now's a great time to buy, because here's the buyers we have and here's the value we can get you, which is really the core essence of what you're talking about.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Is how do we take all that demand intelligence, just like Amazon and everybody else, and how do we empower agents
Yes.
to do the same sort of thing? Now that we're seeing all these activities online, just like Gutenberg and Tesla could have hardly predicted all the way this forward, how can we use that just like they did? And here's a quick little poll. Who's the most valuable lead? Buyer lead or seller lead? Let's see what about 9 out of 10 answers are. Most valuable lead. What do people think?
I think it's a seller lead. Let's see what everybody else says.
Seller, 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 right. Seller lead is the most important lead. If you own the seller lead, you sort of own the owner. And that's what I want you to focus on, is taking all this intelligence we just talked about and getting it in front of the homeowner. This is how, to answer the question, I'm not sure who posed it, Hoby on the line, is knowing what the demand is. You need to come across, we like to call them knowledge agents. So you're not just a real estate agent, but you're a knowledge agent. You're a knowledge broker. So if you can own the owner, you want to talk about, why the homeowner, why the seller lead. By the time the average U.S. homeowner retires, 83% of their nest egg comes from their home equity, right? Not their IRA or their 401k. It's their home equity. So understanding that, that's why the homeowners are that's why they care about their most valuable asset. They're coming to you for that information. So it's not just, I want seller lead, I want seller. Understand why it's important to the homeowner, because it's so valuable in terms of their portfolio and their nest egg. And understanding some of these stats help you. And you say, all right, well, buyer leads are not that important. Okay, maybe and maybe not. But according to NAR, 68% of buyers had something to sell, right? So if you're getting these buyer leads in and they're not perfect for your listing, you may throw them away. But guess what? They're also a seller lead. Think about like just a little bit of a paradigm shift. It took a bit for me to kind of get that. Is if you have your buyer leads, 7 out of 10 of them essentially are also a seller lead. So there's one place you can start right away. Start talking to your buyers more about their home. And even if somebody came in off of a Zillow or a Realtor.com, they might not be perfect for that listing, but they also have something to sell. So make sure you're talking about that. So what do they want to know once you engage those seller leads, once you start talking to them? There are 2 things. Many surveys, but you probably already all know this. 2 things they want to know. What's the price of my home? Do you have buyers for it?
Right.
Be prepared to talk about those 2 things. And like Hoby said, there was a website out there before that had home valuations, but that was only half the equation of what homeowners really want to know. They also want to know is, does Hannah have the buyers? And so that's what we've been able to deliver in at least the home valuation page. So agents are going to be able to have their own home valuation page, right? And they're sharing them out there right now. That's going to answer those 2 questions of what's the value of my home and do you have buyers for it? You could sign your clients up to a monthly report, right? Every month they're getting a mortgage statement, right? That shows them how much they owe. Well, send them an equity statement every month. Register them, and we have a lot of agents that are doing this today, is, talk about a client for life initiative. Instead of sending a homeowner, cat calendars or stuffed quinoa pepper recipes or whatever, turn back the clock, which is great. But the home we just talked about is very relevant. And if you could talk more about their home as an asset and talk to them about the value of their home, and there are buyers interested in a home just like yours, you're going to be able to generate seller leads. And Howard Hanna has, and Alan Tate, you'll have had a ton by doing that approach, by getting in front of homeowners and your past clients, by sharing your home valuation page. You've had a ton of seller leads and unlisted addresses being entered. Hoby, you know, maybe Kate, you don't know, maybe some of the agents don't know. If you were to guess in the last 94 days between Howard Hanna and Alan Tate, how many unlisted addresses have been entered into those home valuation pages? Is it 100, 500, 1,000? What do people think?
I think it's more, but you tell us.
So of all the unlisted addresses that have been shared, almost 16,000 homeowners, 16,000 have entered their address and curious for Howard Hanna and Alan Tate just over the last couple months. We then looked at how much dollars that could potentially be in terms of listings, right? We know the value of the homes approximately $4.5 billion of listing inventory. Wow, like mind blowing in terms of how, and this is during a pandemic, right? Only 2 or 3 months during a pandemic. And so this is going to not only continue to grow, but you're going to see these listings go under contract, and you're going to see these listings sell. And a lot of the agents are contributing. Like, these are big numbers, I get it, but there's some agents. This is Ben down in Blowing Rock, North Carolina, the beautiful Blue Ridge Mountains down there. This is Ben just emailed this into us. I had someone call me interested in a listing, sent them a home valuation link. They did a valuation several times. Last Friday, went to their house. Now has a $1.4 million listing by doing this. I mean, this great example, right?
And I think I want to go back just one thing on that. Just mention 2 things, Charles. One is I looked at one of the comments and it said, well, we aren't going to need, it was anonymous, but it said, well, we won't need real estate agents. No, that's where we need real estate agents even more, because as this type of technology emerges, we now are able to say that where we have the buyers and where we can take a valuation tool and not send somebody to Zillow to look at a valuation tool, look at it on our site, get into an engaged conversation of, and Ben might have, on a valuation, I don't know, that house might have been worth $1 million, but Ben knew that there was a demand for it and there were buyers. And so he said, let's challenge the market and get it on at a higher price so we can support that price. And I think that's where these tools makes the agent and the good agent and the one who can translate the data even more valuable in the future. And it protects our commission. Because if we're able to say to somebody, not just here's how much your house is worth, but really show them, and here's the buyers I'm going to target, and here's the marketing plan I'm going to put in place, we protect our value of our commission because we know who those buyers are. Now, to piggyback off of that, I saw Mary Frances Leganke said, how do we get more data into buy side? And on my market, it doesn't. And Mary Frances, it's a great question for everybody. What I want to tell you is that right now, we automatically feed without agent involvement. When you look at where the buyers are coming from and they're matched, every lead that comes into a Hanna agent from our lead network. So whether it's realtor.com, whether it's leads you get on Zillow, because we're pulling that in if it attaches to your email address at Hanna, howardhanna.com. Those 3 vehicles we're basically just pushing in, or at Tate through the Tate site for the Tate agents. Those vehicles right there, anybody who comes in and requests information, reaches an email, we're putting them in there. Then where Mary Frances, you're 100% right. If all of our agents started to use Spacio, and then that connects to Real Scout, so you've got those searches, that goes in. For the markets where we have showing time, when you're using showing time, that lead management comes right in. So if you have a buyer that's looking at houses in the $300,000 price point in Chesterland, Ohio, it's the system's collecting that data. We're getting to a point we're trying to work with buy side. How do we take our pre-approval of mortgage buyers and give them a feed to integrate that? Here's the pre-approved buyers we have between 420 and 450 in Amherst, New York. So that as we build this out, you'll see more valuation as people use more of our tools, and as more people come to the website and we direct traffic, even if it's to your page of the website. We're going to launch an app next week. You guys will all see it. It's going to go live. All the leads that come in there, that data, it's still your buyer, you're protected, but we're matching that buyer to Kate when she goes on a listing appointment, that's my buyer. So it's really, really powerful. And I just wanted to reference a couple of those things because I don't think this takes the agent out of the business or hurts our commission. It brings more. And then on the flip side, the more that we start putting more data in, the more of every agent uses the tools that we have and we've given you and starts to build your platform, it becomes much richer. So,
Hoby, would it help?
I don't mean to cut you
That
off.
was perfect. Would it help if I went live for a little bit and talked as if I was an agent?
Yeah, I think that would be great if you feel comfortable doing that, because I think, how we utilize this value. Oh, and by the way, buy side does integrate into Engage. It integrates through MoxieWorks. It integrates to your listing presentation. So I'm just looking at some of these questions. And so, while you're going live, let me also say this, a couple questions so I can sort of play moderator the questions when we get ready. But a couple agents are asking, like, they like the product, but they're seeing competitors using something similar. What's our version different? What do we have? I will tell you that buy side, it's not an exclusive product. It's not one that Charles will probably say he doesn't work with some certain brands as much as others maybe. And that's a cultural thing, being the son of a realtor. But other people may have buy side. We have the full complete package that's integrating with everything we do. Some people may have that technology. Some people may have other market analysis technology and they're trying to create data. So it could be in a day and age that competitors have it, and it might get to a point where those competitors, we link the data together. So it wouldn't just be Howard Hanna data. You'd, on a listing appointment, be able to get more richer data in a marketplace. But it's really like anything. It's how we embrace this technology and utilize it. For years, competitors have had the same thing we have at Howard Hanna. Where we create our value proposition, where we differentiate, is the adoption by agents and how we better promote it to the client and customer. We've won the day with home warranties. In many parts of our company, as an example, the home warranty makes a difference and is used to get listings. Every company has a home warranty. I'm not comparing the two, but it's out there. Every company can say that they get leads from their website. Well, what do you do with the leads? How do you process them? How do you better respond to them? So what we have a jump on is, on a lot of our competitors in our markets are not buy-side clients or customers, or some who haven't turned on the agent capabilities and tools. There are some competitors that sort of, it's pricier. We spend a little bit more because we want to be protected and have the data, but there's a lot of companies that'll just use buy-side on their website itself to the consumer. They're not giving it to agents to really maximize. Is that fair to say, Charles?
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, you said it beautifully. There's the word exclusivity. And I always tell agent, look, you got X right, but it's not about exclusivity. It's about execution, which was your point, Hoby, right? It's How you use it. And so, doing these type of things, and I'm going to give you a little bit of a way to talk about it. It's how, everybody has a CMA, all agents do. It's just how you leverage it. Everybody has things given to you by the MLS. It's how you leverage it, how you execute. So let's pretend we're Molly here. Molly's an agent with Howard Hanna and Shadyside. And so just with that question earlier, hey, we're giving away all the information. The consumers aren't going to need us. This is the opposite. What we're doing is, consumers want immediacy today, right? They want information. They've like cat's out of the bag. But we could do it in such a way that shows them that we, as Molly, as a brokerage, we know what the market is. We're going to give you a sneak peek. We're going to let you look in the window, but we're not going to let you come in. We're going to save some of that stuff for us to know, for us to understand. So here's a little highlight here. So I'm a homeowner. I came in, I put in my address on Molly's page, or maybe Molly prepared this ahead of time.
And for some reason, I don't know why it says she's in Shadyside, because Molly's in the Fox Chapel office. And as soon as everybody sees that, her manager will be calling me, and then somebody will say that Molly switched offices. Molly is still in Fox Chapel. We will.
Yeah, it's probably just a feed we're getting.
We'll fix that later. That's the challenge of going live. We see where we have some mistakes, but go ahead, Charles.
So here's an example, right? So the consumer is empowered, like we said before, by Zillow. So it's one company we all may not like, but guess who does like it? The consumers like it. It's available to them. So let's really confuse the homeowner, since the information is readily. Let's use it to our advantage. Let's show the consumer, here's 3 valuations of what your home. This is a computer, right? Computer models are across the board. I mean, shoot, just look at this, Hoby. 196 here, one valuation is, even down to 167 alone, all the way to 319,000. Like, holy cow, that is a big range. So yeah, we're giving the information to the consumer, but what we're doing is sharing them. It's not that easy. This is why you need a real estate broker, why you need a real estate agent, is to be able to cut through all this information data out there. Here's another thing you can talk about when you talk about Zillow and these other AVMs, is they take public information, right? They take public tax record data. They don't have insight into the entire MLS, and that's not what's going into these AVMs. These are consumer facing, they're not lender grade. It also doesn't include real-time demand like you all have. So these are the points you could talk to the consumer that, yeah, I know you probably went to Zillow, but here, let me tell you a little bit about why these pricing models are flawed. They don't include MLS data. They don't include buyer demand data. No computer can walk your home and know that you've upgraded to granite countertops or added that half bath. And that's why I'm here today, to talk to you more about your home and your neighborhood and what the trends are. So we're doing just enough to get them to understand that you are that knowledge broker, that knowledge agent. And there's many call to actions. The consumer can mess around the condition of their property. There's a gorgeous heat map here so you can see the demand, right? First time ever you're able to see the demand on a map. So you could see, look, yeah, now the consumer, so it's like a weather map, right? The darker the color, the more the activity going on. In this case, not rain or snow. This is buyers. Every time somebody clicks, likes, favorites, shares, inquires on a property, we're seeing all those signals just like Amazon. And so as an agent, I see that. And so before, 10 years ago, I might have been able to say this area was hot and this one was not so hot. But now, because of the technology behind Hannah, we've been able to integrate all of our platforms. And we're able to see the demand, and not just across Hannah, anywhere that part of this buy-side network, anywhere where there's activity, we're able to see all this demand. And so I can talk to you about why this area is so hot. Well, a new factory just opened up. So that's why we're seeing a lot of people. I can talk to you about price. It's important we get price right because it's such a high demand area. Or not, a lower demand area. It's important we get price right. It can incite a bidding war. So what we're doing is, again, showing a little bit of window dressing, but not so much where they could do anything other than contact an agent to learn more. And so it kind of piques their interest. Wow, Hannah really understands this marketplace. They understand buyer activity by price range, by bedroom count. Here, they're even giving me some sample buyers. Like these are all anonymous buyer IDs, buyer ID 549 4021, looking between 150 and 300 for a 2-bedroom, 1-bath. Like, I can't do anything. The only thing I can do right now is call Molly or reach out to Molly. That's putting the agent at the center of the transaction. That's building the knowledge base and really positioning the agent as the go-to source to understand both supply side and demand side of a marketplace. And that's just an example on the home valuation page. And there's many ways that agents are doing that today. They're sharing it.
So go back to that screen just for a second, Charles, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Because let's just talk about this from an agent perspective. So we're sharing this on a valuation screen. By the way, agents, when everybody out there, when they come through your URL, it's all, you're keeping all the data. It's all your information. So if they request information, it would come, if they're coming to Mary Eve at howardhanna.com, it's going to Mary Eve's webpage site. So everything we mirror is there for you to share with your agents. Or in Molly's case, you'd contact Molly. But when Molly also is going to get this same data. So whether Molly's on a listing appointment, and I'm sure you're going to jump to that, but Molly's going to get this same data of agents. Go to that, if you don't mind, the ID. Okay, and what Molly, when she's in there, if these are Molly's buyers, it's going to give Molly the information of, here's your buyers, Molly, here's your 10 buyers in this price point. But one of the great things is if this is in that particular market area, if this was Stephanie Venus's buyer in the office, what happens is when Molly lists this and wants to go out to the market and reverse prospect, Stephanie, correct me if I'm wrong, Charles, Stephanie's going to get notified from Molly, hey, I just listed this great new property that matches up with this buyer. It's going to, when Stephanie sees it, it's going to tell her who the buyer is. Is that correct?
That's exactly right. So this is where the entire automation comes in.
Yeah.
So Molly will see that, hey, a new buyer just got added for your listing on a certain address, for instance. So here's 25 buyers for this one, 15 buyers for this one. So she's able to see that and then reach out to the agents that have those matching buyers. So it's a way for, again, to show the consumer on this face, they can't do anything other than contact Molly. But here's the power of this, is when Molly logs in, Molly can look up who is working with buyer 549. So just like an MLS ID for listings, on the buy side, there's a buyer ID or buy side ID, right? 5494021. So Molly can now log in if she wanted to. But this is the power of being that knowledge broker, that knowledge agent is, yeah, there's 300 some odd buyers looking in and around Cleveland and that zip code between those price ranges. And that's all you know, Mr. Homeowner. But me as an agent, I'm able to log in and I'm able to sort through this and really understand which of these buyers are pre-qualified. I can filter it down. Which of them are just starting the process? Which of them are further along in the process? Which ones have contingencies? Which ones don't have contingencies? And so I'm able to sort through and find the perfect set of buyers for a home just like yours. And I'm going to target market. I'm going to reach out to their agents. That's the power of a real estate broker. We all connect and talk to one another, even in this digital world. That's the power of Hannah being able to connect us with the technology they provide us.
And that's what I think is powerful. So we give them this glimpse, but then have to bring them back to us. But going back to like when I was listing and selling as an agent, that's how we did business. You go on a listing appointment, and I'm number one in market share. My company's number one in market share in the east end of Pittsburgh. And here's our market share graph. And we sell more than everybody else. I mean, I literally was taught to take the old model accounts, which were on the old scrolled paper that went like this. And my manager taught me with a yellow highlighter, you highlight sale that was a listing of Howard Hanna's that sold, and in green, you did everyone was a buyer. It was like a visual. Well, and so I could say this, my network, I'm going to go back to the Howard Hanna agents. I'm going to send an email out. Well, before email, I'm going to send a note out to them. I'm going to call the top agents. I'm going to walk into the office, post my listing even before it's in the MLS, and say to the agents, do we have a buyer? Because I know they do. Now we're able to actually show, like take that basic rudimentary marketing, which people still do. I can guarantee you that Molly in Fox Chapel, where we have like a 60% market share, says to her sellers, I'm going to go back and market to my agents because I know they have buyers for this house. I've already talked to them. Now she actually can show the visual and say, oh, by the way, there's 300 buyers for this home, or there's 50, or whatever the price point is. And it's more than just me talking. It's like, here's the graph I'm showing you on my listing presentation or on my buy side dashboard. It's amazing. It's just taken what we've always done for agents to get worried about technology. We're just automating this. You don't really have to do anything except for show the graphic, and it integrates to your listing presentation. It's what you always did, is just connected buyers and sellers, and now you know who they are. So it's wonderful.
Exactly. It brings that transparency that you now know the demand. And it's great, as you said, to be able to talk to that homeowner and say, look, I understand what this demand is. And yeah, there's lots of people. Like, that's the value of Hannah. I actually can see who's searching, but I also know who's earlier in the process, who's later. And I'm going to narrow this down for somebody looking for a home just like yours. And this is a great example, like demand, not just on a map, but now you're seeing it by pricing tier too. So you can see that 57 people looked at like that something similar in the last 90 days or so. And so you can see if she went down in price or up in price, what the effect is. And a lot of agents have been using this for price adjustments. So if the chart works to your favor, you could basically say, look, instead of me, Mr. or Mrs. Homeowner, I know you want to be priced here, but I can see what if I decrease the price or increase the price. Like, do you want 3 people over here for the open house next weekend, or do you want to bring it to 50 people and potentially incite a bidding war?
And that's the magic, because I saw a comment that somebody put, oh, be careful. If you show there's all this demand, that they'll just list it themselves. No, because they don't know who the buyers are. Number one, they can say that, but how are they prospecting to the buyers? They're just going to put an orange sign up and hope somebody comes. Where are they really going to put the value? Now, the flip side, you go in and 2 weeks ago, we had my dad on this and saying, Dad, what's the best piece of advice? He said, we need listings, and you can't just look at comps. You have to challenge the market today. You got to look at what supply and demand is, because if there's nothing for sale in a good neighborhood, and it's always a $250,000 neighborhood, we might get 290 or 270. Now you have this data, and you can say, hey, let's challenge the market. Let's go to 275. Well, there might not be at 250, there might be 70 people looking, but at 275, there's still 50 people looking that we can target. Let's go market to the 50 people right now. So it can work both ways on a price adjustment. You can come back and house hasn't sold in 60 days and look at the data, but you also on a listing appointment can say, I can get you more at Howard Hanna because I'm going to market directly to these people the minute you say go, and let's see if we can get greater value. And I know somebody will say, but what about appraisals? Well, let's worry about appraisals when we get an actual offer on a house and we get the listing inventory, because there's deals right now closing cash, not even having mortgage, not having appraisals, that are going to move the market because of this pandemic and pricing so wildly over the next 60 days. But this just goes back to that's why I think it's such a great listing tool. I mean, sometimes I look at it and say, I'm going to go back and be a listing agent because I would have,
Yeah.
But
I'm
maybe not as
seeing
much stress too. Man, I just do my own thing. But
your point is
all
right,
so-
though, Hoby. Like the knowledge is power. Sorry, but you are not like. I know you say sorry to digress, but you are not like you're dead on. Like knowledge is power, and it's all how you use it. You know, we talked a little bit about telling a story, and this is you now have. It's hard to argue with data. It's hard to argue with it, but you've got to craft the story with it. Now we provided this with you to be very powerful. Instead of the consumer just feeling they should be priced at something, you know now have the information to tell them what to price it at. But you've got to craft that story. You got to pick and choose how you leverage that data. This is just an example to what that one agent just asked. This is Wendy. Hi, Wendy. Check this out. She just submitted this a couple days ago here. I had a friend call me a couple weeks ago asking if I could do a market analysis for free, and they didn't want to get involved with listing with an agent. They just wanted to sell it themselves. So she did a killer listing presentation. She included 4 pages from buy side that had the buyer IDs on it. And this is during quarantine, so I did a Zoom presentation, shared my screen. The next day they called and they said they changed their minds about selling the home themselves. They wanted it to list with me.
That's great.
She sold it the first day and above list price. Like talking about leveraging, talking about telling a story of leveraging the information, the data, and the knowledge. Wendy, and this, like, you can't, like, this is perfect of being able to really command, be that knowledge. Like everybody, there's lots of real estate agents. You've got to be that knowledge agent that can use this information and data and really use it to your advantage. This is what consumers are used to, right? They're sharing a post on Facebook and they see they just got 57 likes. I mean, my son has said, "Hey, Dad," I take a picture. He's like, "Can you put this up on viral?" Right? Like kids are used to seeing things. Like even at that age, they're used to information, and so use that to your advantage. Go back to the consumers. Let them know that you have so much more knowledge and information about the real-time demand that they can never see. That's the power of working with a Hanna or an Allen Tate agent.
So Charles, talk about okay, from that agent perspective, being an agent. So we see that, okay, if people come to howardhanna.com, they can now look at what their home is worth. They can then request an agent. They can come through, as I said, they could come through Wendy's site at howardhanna.com, be able to do that, your customers. But how do the agents, how can they market this out? How do they go to their sphere, their contacts that are in Engage? We've designed a whole series of e-cards and postcards and things that have call for action. But I know we've had some agents have success of how they're getting leads. And you know the business well, but give us some ideas of the best way for, if I'm an agent today and I want to go out and somehow target market to sellers, what would you suggest I would do that's going to get me response back?
Great question. All right. So when you come into the buy side application, there's going to be a tab called Marketing Suite. So I want you all to do this today. Go to your Marketing Suite. You're going to be able to preview your own page, your own home valuation page. You click on it, and here's the URL. You can see it's got Molly's last at the end here. It's called the slug, Molly Finley. You can share that, cut and paste that anywhere you want into social. But here's one of the first things I want you to do, 2 things. Number 1, and I saw this in a lot of the success stories. This is what the top agents have been doing. They cut and paste this, and they put it in their email signature. So every email that goes out is going to have this in your signature, right? You're always talked about, whether it's Ninja Sewing or Tom Fair or whatever it is ask for business, ask for referrals, ask for it. Like agents sometimes don't do a great job of doing that. But this is a way you can automate doing that and putting in every email signature. Put it in yours, put it in your personal, put it in your husband's, put it in your kid's email signature, whatever. Ask for that.
I'm doing that this afternoon. I'm doing that as soon as we get off this call.
Oh man, I mean, everybody should be doing this. And so if anybody clicks this, it right away goes to your page. Only you see this. Howard Hanna Corporate, Alan Tate Corporate are not getting access to any homeowner that comes to this page. You are seeing it. In fact, we'll alert you as soon as somebody comes to it. We'll even tell you the name of the homeowner. So that's how powerful, talked about that everybody online, right? And all those shared, like that's what we're seeing, and we're sharing that with you. So that's the first thing. The second thing I'd like you to do, share it on social media, specifically Facebook. On average, everybody has 200 friends on Facebook, right? Who has 200 friends on Facebook, who has 200 friends on Facebook, and that's how things go, quote unquote, viral. So share this one click without screaming, I'm still in real estate, right? This is a nice soft way for you to share this. And look, Howard Hanna and the marketing team have done a fantastic job here. They've already got the artwork, right? That gets that much more engagement with, but write this down, CTA, call to action. I want to make sure you put something very relevant to your network. So maybe find out what your home is worth, or a lot of people are asking me what the value of their home is in today's economy. So you could put whatever you wanted there and share that to your wall. And I'm not going to guarantee, but I could bet that within minutes, sometimes seconds, you will start seeing pings, evaluation attempts. And now you're going to be able to follow up with those homeowners and engage with those homeowners. Talking about list to last, this is the secrets here. In fact, there was one good success story I want to share, especially today. There was a message, and I kind of paraphrased, not to give away all of her secrets. This was her CTA, or her call to action. This was a top agent in Michigan. She put in there, people have been asking me the last month or so about the equity in their home. They're afraid that the stock market has gone down 30%, that their home equity has also gone down 30%. There's a silver lining here. Home equity and values have not gone down 30%, right? 83% of your net worth is in your home equity, and it has not tanked. My company just provided me a free tool, free to you. I want you to check it out. Give me your feedback. Let me know what you think. Just put in your address and tell me what you think. She's been flooded with homeowners saying, thank you. This is what I've been needed. This answers my questions. And they follow up with questions. And she's gotten listings like crazy and listing opportunities out of this. So you could take your own spin, tell your own story, but engage your network the only way you know how, with it. Very creative, something that resonates. You could do this on LinkedIn. So those are two ways I encourage you before the day is over to do that, both in your email signature and in social media.
Hey, Charles and Hoby, if I could, I just want to chime in. So there's already, I think it's less than 6 minutes of video that goes through that. It's already on Howard Hanna's education YouTube channel. And if you've taken those classes with me, there's 5 homework assignments to get the most out of buy side, and we'll send it in the follow-up. But like Charles said, the first thing to get the most out of buy side, I always try to do this. If there's one thing you do, it's share your valuation site. If there's 2 things you do, it's, reach out to your leads. If there's 3 things, and there's 5 that will really help you get the most out of this. The webinar is already recorded. There's quick little tips everywhere, how to share it on Facebook. So again, just keep in mind, we're showing you how great this is, but this is already available for you, little help guides. And those will be sent a PDF how-to of all the homework.
We'll resend them. And I will say that managers that are on this call and regionals, Kate does do her webinars, and she did one this week, but she's right. We've got so much value so agents who couldn't be here today, and agents that are busy showing houses, and they're going to hear about this and say, oh, I missed this. Well, obviously this video is recorded, so you get to hear Charles on his base, but then we're going to send that link out. Please take advantage of it, and let's make sure our agents know how that they can utilize this, because I just think it's so powerful, and and so I just don't want anybody to miss it. Interesting, Charles, I told you this morning, we've done some internal statistics that, and I know you're going to give us a company-wide quarterly report, which is great. One of the great things that buy side gives us is that every quarter, and we've only been in this for like 60 days, they're going to share a lot of, and we'll share that with all of you as agents, sort of saying like, here's what's happening. but it's interesting. We just tracked a couple things, and it didn't include the Tate numbers for the Tate folks that are here. But just in the last 60 days, we've had 12,000 valuation attempts from consumers and people that have gone out to play with the tool. We've had over 4,000 market analysis that agents that you've used to go back and give to clients and customers. We've had 18,000 and change agent-to-agent emails, meaning you just listed a house, you used the buy-side tool, and you went out to those 50 or 18,000 other agents and said, this new listing matches one of your buyers. And so far in 60 days, we've had 17,000 buyers added through the network that we're pulling that we know are out there looking. So it's, this tool, as we're beginning to use it, it's only 60 days in, and we are seeing listings and sales come in from it as well, which is the most important thing. But it's just, of all the tools, and we've done this during this pandemic. We've done it where one of the interesting things is that we launched in March, end of March before this all happened, and we had a really aggressive marketing plan to drive more traffic to the valuation tool for our agents. And we felt we should bring it back a little bit, tone it down because of the coronavirus, that, people were shut down, weren't working, were afraid to sort of say, what's the value of your home? And we sent a little bit of a softer message, and then began to come back and talk about how we are working virtually and we're there to support you, which has been great. Well, we're going to bring it back. And we started this week. So you go to the homepage of the website, and the biggest call for action is the home valuation tool, trying to get seller leads out to you. We're going to push more of our marketing, saying that we're starting in June, that you can sell or buy with confidence. And one of the reasons you can is because we have this buy side tool, and we can tell you where the buyers are, or because we have the 100% money back guarantee. So it just is another part of the whole value proposition at Howard Hanna that we can maximize. So, going back to you, Charles, I see, you've got some other great quotes that have come in from some of our agents of how they're using things. So give us some expansion there of other ways they're using the valuation tool today already.
Yeah, it's just crazy. Like you said, it's only been 2-3 months, and how much activity, how many of your agents have gotten new listings and just send us these thank you notes and how they're using this knowledge, the power of the buy side in listing presentations, even of how well it's translated. I can't even imagine how well Hannah's and Alan Tate's are going to do as we start coming out of this. As New York, I mean, you just mentioned it earlier. New York hasn't even come out of this yet. Once you start adding that in, y'all are killing it. These agents are just killing it. We've mentioned some of them on the screen here. Talk to them of how they used it. And how they've gotten such great success. I mean, you got to be in it to win it. And they always say technology is going to kill the agent. And that's not true, right? It's the agents that don't embrace technology are the ones that are going to go by the wayside. These agents that I've shared here today, they're killing it because they've embraced technology and they know how to talk about it. They know how to leverage the knowledge and the power of buy side in these conversations. They use it in listing presentations. So as Hoby said earlier, it does integrate with Moxie Presents. So not only can you log into buy side and create a listing presentation, but you can log into Moxie Present and also choose partner pages and present using that. But if you did a buy side presentation, it's already been prepared for you. You just enter an address, all the pictures, the logos, your picture. I mean, all that's been set up for you already. I would encourage you not to email it ahead of time. Again, you want to position yourselves as that knowledge broker, as that knowledge agent. I hear some agents do share it ahead of time. What I'd like to do is do what some of the agents that we shared, like do a Zoom meeting or show up. And you don't want to miss the opportunity to show off that you are that knowledge agent. You want to be able to talk from that confidence and from understanding the market. And so whether it's Kathy or Molly or whoever are going to be able to talk about why, Zillow and all these other AVMs are not accurate and why you need a real estate professional. They're going to be able to talk about the heat map and where the demand is and why pricing is important. They're going to talk about all the signals. Like, you don't want to just send that ahead of time. You want to be able this is your moment to shine. So I would encourage you to don't send it ahead. Here's one little trick. Open houses. I know many are doing virtual, but once we start doing live open houses, we had a top agent down in the Southeast. When she did an open house, she printed these buy-side market analysis for every neighbor's house for that open house. Here's why. Well, who shows up to these open houses?
Neighbors.
Yes, buyers, neighbors, right. What better opportunity, what better first impression could you possibly make than showing you've already done work? And all it took is you entering an address, right, to print this thing. You already had a presentation prepared for them, whether you saved it to your iPad or you printed it. And you could walk through right then and there, do a live listing presentation on the spot, right? It's just a couple pages, but it really shows that you have command of the market and you know what the demand is. So there's another little tip that some of the top agents are doing.
Charles, I got to chime in and give a little plug for Howard Hanna here. So that BMA is already integrated in everyone's HANA presentation under the new default seller. So you don't even have to go in and create that. If you're doing the full listing presentation using my, HANA presentations, if you click on the new default, it's already embedded in there for you. You don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. So again, it's the more we understand how this all integrates and take advantage, realizing between our marketing and education team, they've really done everything they can to embrace and put everybody, connect all of this together, even on the listing presentation without having to do much work. A couple of questions that are out there that I just thought would come up. One is just, Charles, is there a buy-side help desk for agents, or if they have questions? Because I think I know the answer, but if you could address that.
Yeah, that's a great point. So let me show you real quick here. We have two ways, more even. So we do have a support at Get Buy Side email address if there's any questions. When you log into the application, at the bottom right-hand corner, there's also a little chat bot. We have agents on call during normal business hours all the way to West Coast time. So we're available to help you through anything. Even if you're live in the driveway about to do a listing presentation, we'll do our best. We also have a private Facebook group that I would encourage you to join. It's called Buy Side Insiders. I'd like you all to do that today as well. There's lots of tips and tricks and questions that you all can share. In addition to, I'm sure there's a Hannah or Tate private. We did want to offer up, since we've been getting such great success stories, I'll give you a little inside track. If you can do a video, like a phone video of a good success story that you've had, share that with not just us on the Buy Side Insider, but share that with your counterparts and give them little tips and tricks, and also sort of a pride thing. But what we're going to do is by next Friday, we're going to pick the best success story or most creative way that you've used the Buy Side, whether it's the home valuation site or the listing presentation, or maybe it's in pricing. We've heard some really good ones, and we're automatically going to enter those. But go visit Buy Side Insiders, ask to join. We'll do a little bit of vetting and make sure, and we'll invite you in. So there's a couple ways to get in contact with us if you ever have any questions, whether it's technical related or just how do I talk to my seller, or how do I handle this.
So that's great. So everybody knows that. So you'll get support through internally at Hannah, through the education department and others. But what we do push for all of our partner products is that support at Get Buy Side, so that you have a direct and you've got the best people to answer it. Not that Kate and our education team and some managers aren't really fluent, but there's only so many hours in a day. A couple questions that do come up that I think, Charles, from your answering is that, and this comes, how would you reach out to people who made a valuation attempt but didn't claim their property and sign up for the reports without sounding or looking like a stalker? For example, this agent says they've had 38 valuation attempts, but only 3 claimed their address and signed up for updates. What would be your recommendation there?
That's actually a spot-on ratio. So which is the importance of repetitive sharing your page and getting it out there. So for every 10 addresses get entered, 1 will leave their contact information. So it's a game of numbers here. But even if they don't leave their contact information, could you do something with it? What could you do, right? So I'm logged in again as Molly. And so here are 4 people that ran valuations on their address, 2521 Edge Hill in Cleveland. This is, I just did this a few seconds ago. So this is a great example where it wasn't the owner, right? It was the actual owner. We looked up through public tax record. It's really John Coakley. Well, here's what Molly or whoever could do. Reach out to John, send him a postcard. And here's what you can say. And you go to our support center, there's a couple templated postcards that say something around this. Or write a letter. But basically it's, look, we're an innovative company. We see activity all the time on homes and what people are looking for, but buy side, sell side. And hey, John, I saw somebody check the valuation of your home. If it was you, great. I'd love to help you answer any questions you might have. And if it wasn't you, again, the value of Hannah, we know that people are looking for homes all over. And it just so happens somebody is interested in your home and I can reach out to them. So if you are thinking about selling, let me know. Let me help you answer any questions you might have, because we do see the value of our technology, being a Hannah or being a Tate agent. We're very innovative and we can see what people are looking for, what they're liking, what they're favoriting. And people are interested in your home. And now's a great time to sell. Now's a great time to list. If there's any questions, let me know and I'm happy to answer. So that's a great way, without sounding creepy, just to kind of show your power of being a knowledge broker, a knowledge agent.
I think you're right.
Homeowners.
So going to another question, because I just love getting some of these agent questions and they're real. And I know Kate does a great job of following up later, but question is, the word Zestimate in our industry, no one likes, and we sell against it. And we think, okay, well, it confuses the market, which it does. But we went back and you showed that you're using 3 different valuation tools that we discussed with you. Talk a little bit though, that they're not really, if you look, they're not buy sides valuation tools. There's a lot of, I'll start with this. There's a lot of valuation tools in the industry. These are 3 we happen, eappraisal.com, Home Value, and Zillow. RPR has a valuation that many of you use. Some Modalists do. It is an algorithm that really all these companies have that take public records data, sales data, just like Zillow. I mean, they're not accurate. And to me, so the question is how does this valuation tool come up with the value? How is it different than the Zestimate? And what I would say is what we're doing, rather than at Zillow, it being one value that they give, what we're doing here with buy side is we're using 3 tools that are like a Zestimate, including the Zestimate, because we know it's the most well branded by the marketplace, and basically saying in a way, and maybe we should call out with it a little bit more, that these tools are all crazy. You really need a real estate agent to tell you what your value is. And we have a line there that says that, but when you look at the valuation here of 367 to 178, this just says to the public, I need a realtor to help me tell me why the valuations are all over the map. And for you as the agent to say, because they're just pulling algorithms of closed deals. They don't know that this house next door to you didn't have an upgraded kitchen like yours, hadn't remodeled the bathrooms, doesn't sit at the end of the cul-de-sac and have a great view. So it's again, crafting that story and understanding that we are basically saying that none of these valuation tools are as accurate as a real estate agent. And that's where you've got to be in their living room telling them, not only have the buyers, but I can get you more money for your home because or you know what, that other house that was 367, it was totally gutted and renovated and this isn't, and how you have that dialogue. But Charles, any thoughts that you have on what you say about the valuation tools and the differences?
Yeah, I mean, the person that made that comment was spot on. Everybody knows the Zestimate. And, you know, a couple years, Zillow had the stage with that Zestimate. So now that the consumers are sort of hooked on that and they think they can price their home, let's use that to our advantage as brokers, as agents. Let's feed them. There's like 10 different AVMs. We actually, just so you all know, we have about 8 different AVMs lined up. So some of them are off to the side because not every AVM, so write this down, AVM is Automated Valuation Model. And that's what these are. They're called AVMs, Automated Valuation Models. And so the Zestimate has been out there for years. There's lots of computer models out there, or AVMs, ePraisal, RPR, CoreLogic, House Canary. There's lots of them out there. And so what we're doing is we're feeding it back to the consumers to say, this isn't easy. And in fact, we have some brokers that the line here is confused. Talk to an agent. And that's what the intent here is to really just put Zillow on steroids, like just use it to our advantage. Throw out other AVMs or other models to really confuse the heck out of the consumer and say, wow, this is not as easy as I thought it was. Yeah. Like I know about the Zestimate from the Super Bowl commercial or whatever. But what you have as an advantage is your network and your sphere. And if you can share this and get in front of it instead of, praying that the consumer does not bring up Zillow, just hit it head on. Like be aggressive. Be like, look, yeah, there's this estimate out there. Did you know that there's 10 other AVMs out there? Yep. There's lots of models. And me living in this world and living in this space and being a professional, I understand that. And I understand what data they have access to. And they can't, no computer can walk your home. No computer knows that you've upgraded to granite countertops like we talked about. No computer knows right now how much the demand is. That's the value of an agent. We've been able to tap into that and be able to bring that to you. So again, position yourself as a knowledge broker, as a knowledge agent, and be able to talk about not just the one value, but I'm going to take these into consideration, but I'm also going to take in active listings into consideration, comps. I'm also going to take in what's pending. I'm also going to take into consideration real-time demand. Just like Amazon, right? They changed that price from $17.59 to it's because they took into consideration both sides, and you could do the same thing. Really position yourselves well.
So just I'm just hitting these questions, and I'll answer one, then bring one back to you. Is that Barb Erickson asked, is the MLS used for buy side, or is it just Howard Hanna input, and are all the counties? Yeah, we're pulling the MLS data into buy side. The buyer data that you're looking at, Barb, that we talk about is everything Howard Hanna that we have that's being pulled in. So in every county we're in, and the beauty thing of it is that it's not just listed houses that you can get about, like the public records are there, the valuation's there. So, I know I get the email alert for my own home, put my address in, it's not for sale. Just, it's a great way to see what the valuation in the neighborhood's doing, and just another great source.
Yeah, I'd go back while you look up the next question. I would go back to all your past clients, everybody that bought a home from you at least 3 months ago and beyond, and you could manually subscribe them, run their address and manually subscribe them to the report as a way for you to deliver and be inside their inbox every month with your picture and the Hanna brand or the Tate brand, and deliver value back to them. That's really relevant.
So here's a question. That's a great question. I haven't thought of it. If Andrea asked if she posts this to Facebook, sort of my home valuation, and a friend of hers in Texas or California or somewhere comes in, clicks on and comes to howardhanna.com, can they get data from their house in Texas?
Yes, they can get information on their house in Texas. And do you have a license in Texas? Can you work that lead in Texas?
No, we can refer it though through Leading RE. So. You
can refer through an outstanding referral network being part of Leading RE. There's still money to be had there, and good money to be had. So it's a great opportunity because when you share it in your network, you might have moved to Fox Chapel or Shadyside or wherever from a different part of the country. And so when you share it on Facebook, all of your relatives are going to see it. So I do see not only referrals, here's other comments I see. Hey, that's not the perfect buyer for my property, but do you have other buyers? So there's lots of value just by sharing that to social that you can get monetized.
So question for you, how accurate is the buyer data? I have buyers in my dashboard from an open house months ago. How is the purchase by date getting updated? What do you guys do on the technology side there, Charles?
Yeah, great question. So we have additional fields that agents could add to it in terms of, is my buyer pre-qualified? What timing is your buyer? Are they looking to move in the next 90 days or 365 days? That allows us to start a ticking clock, and we'll auto expire the buyers. So if they're not, if you don't put a desired purchase date after a certain time period that the Hanna team has decided, we will automatically remove that buyer, whether it's 90 days or 180 days. I'm not exactly sure. We'll automatically expire them and put them in My Archive Buyers tab. So I can show you real quick what that looks like.
Or 90 days, Charles.
Fresh.
It's every 90 days for us.
90 days. Okay, perfect. Thank you, Kate. So you can see here, shoot, I don't want to show that, inactive buyers. So you can see all the inactive people that have been searching for homes over the past, past plus 90 days. So yeah.
Can you share on Instagram?
Yes. In fact, you can share, I think it's like 300 sites or something like that. 181 sites. There it is. So there's lots of them there. There's Tumblr.
Yeah,
Facebook.
I can answer this one too, Charles, if you want. For those of you that want to do it on Instagram, there's a video that I created. You have to use, you have to put the URL in your profile. That's the only place that you'll be able to find a clickable URL, and there's a video tutorial on that on YouTube as well.
Great. And
there's some ideas too. If you guys noticed, I just kind of noticed this too at the bottom. If you want to have tips on call to actions or other social media type posting, it's right there in your marketing kit. So you can click to that and you'll go get more information.
So I'm going to answer one more time because I've seen it and the question asked a couple times. We do not have exclusive rights to buy side. It keeps coming up. So I'm just going to hit it. We don't, because that's not Charles's business model. And he's developed this for brokers. Some brokerage firms won't work with buy side because they've got their own valuation. Some won't work with it because, to be honest with you, we got to write Charles a big check for his technology. But those that do, and we have some competitors that do, what I've seen, and those who may have actually been using buy side before us, in my opinion, they have not leveraged it as well as we believe we can at Howard Hanna. They haven't taken some of them haven't taken the full integration suite. Some of them turned it on without a lot of training. None of them have Kate, who's been training you on these. And those of you who take her courses and you can see the valuation. Our marketing department has created supportive collateral pieces, not just, Charles has got his great pieces, but we've added our own to make it more Hannaized. And we're embracing it as we do at Howard Hanna. It's not, and I think Charles said it best, it's not about exclusivity. It's how, what did you say, Charles? It's how you execute, really, which is make this your own, and make it our evaluation tool, put it out to your customers. How you use this is how you're going to differentiate yourself. And we'll make a world of difference that's out there. And, not to brag, but I always have to brag about the Hanna team. But Charles, weren't you kind of impressed with how well this group's doing just within the first 60 days as a customer? I know you have leaderboards that you can compare larger brokers, and I'm sure I'll be competitive on when I look at that and want to make sure we're at the top of it all the time. But how are we doing in your minds as the owner of the product?
I mean, you guys are absolutely killing it in just a short amount of time. I mean, your agents have really embraced it. And if you haven't, I hope you don't get left too far behind in picking this up and running with it, because the success stories that have been coming in have been fantastic. In just a short amount of time, we compare you to other brokers in that same short amount of time, and it's anywhere from 5 to 10x in terms of the activity. And this is during a pandemic, which just blows my mind. Your agents are really running. That's sort of testament to Kate and Kevin and team and Dan and team of how they're getting in front of agents, and the sharp ones are picking it up and they're running with it. And they're getting new business out of it. So it's great to see. And I see the updates every day on how y'all are doing. So both Tate and Howard Hanna. So I know it's only going to get better.
So we're at the sort of that cutoff time of our we could go on and on. Charles, you've been great, as I knew you would, and I know the comments are flying in, and I appreciate it. Kate, of course, appreciate for producing all this and getting it together and all that you're doing. I like to ask one question at the end here, Charles, for everybody, which is from where you sit, what is the one singular piece of advice for agents at Hanna and Tate? Just that one takeaway today of how they can use buy side to grow their business. What would be that one best piece of advice?
Number one is share with your network. By far. I mean, people are starving for, number one, positive news, but they're also just starving for information of how the market is doing. And it's not as bad as people think, especially when it comes down to real estate. Like when this thing whole started, demand was fantastic, and literally it became pent up demand where where decisions were made to keep people in their homes and lock. So the demand is there. It was literally pent up. And as the chains are coming off the doors and people are coming back out, the ones that have the inventory and listings to show are the ones that are going to win. And so this is the time now to get yourself out in front of your sphere. Let them know that the market for their home is very strong, and there are people out there looking for homes. There's a shortage of inventory in lots of places. So make sure when they're thinking about selling their home, remember they're curious about two things: the value of my home and are there buyers? That's all they really care about. And we have empowered Howard Hanna and Allen Tate agents, and you have that. And Hoby and Dan, they've empowered you all with a simple link to share that with your network, in your email signature, on social. It's so simple to do. Set up a schedule for yourself. Call people, right? Your high school friends, your college friends. Hey, I know you're probably concerned, but did you know most of your value in your nest egg is in your home? And talk to them about that. Like, this is the time to do that. The ones that do that, and once the chains come off, are the ones that are going to be best prepared and have inventory, rather than the competitors that are going to take 6 months to ramp up. So I'm already seeing it with Hanna and Tate agents. It's been fantastic. I see the great comments and the success stories. So keep at it. We're here for you. Just keep going and get them. As I tell everybody here at Buyside, go get them.
Thanks, Charles. And this has been great. Thank you to everybody logged in. A lot of wonderful questions that we weren't able to answer today because there's so many coming in. Don't worry, we'll get back to you. Kate does a great job of adding it to training, getting back to individual agents, getting back to managers. So if there are questions that we weren't able to answer, we'll get some information out. I would say, honestly, the webinars that we've recorded, the videos that Buyside's provided for us, what Kate's done, we'll send that link out to everybody today. So this weekend, if you have some time, you can really look at how you're going to leverage this technology and grow your business, because the market is going to be this tsunami of new business that's coming out. Housing was already seen to be what's going to lead us out of this recession that we're in. And Howard Hanna, we're going to make a difference in it. So just to conclude, hey, we're going to continue these webinars. That's been a question that's been asked, these town halls. We may move the day because maybe Friday, we're going to look and see what the best day is in time, with a lot of things going on as we get back to the new normal and we're not all hopefully sitting at home as much. But agents that are out there, managers, you guys have topics you'd like to see on these town halls. We've had some great speakers. We've had some great panelists. We've had some of our partners come on. So if there are other partner products you'd like to hear, if you want Charles coming back every week, I've already seen Anya Petrus saying she wants Hottie every week. Just let us know that we're going to continue to do this. Just give us the topics you'd like to hear. It just makes it easier for me and the team to say, okay, what should we do this week? Should we go back to an agent panel? Should we go to one of our partners? Should we focus on mortgage, relocation? Lots of different topics we could discuss. So just Hoby@howardhanna.com. You want to shoot me an email, please do, that just says, hey, here'd be a great topic idea, whether it's this week or a month down the road. Love having you all with us. The market is improving every day. The market is coming back. And Charles, thank you for the timeliness of sharing this tool with us and sharing more today. So I'll let you get back to those kids behind you and get them programming on whatever new things Buyside's going to do for us. And thanks, everybody. Appreciate it. Kate, thank you again for everybody. Everybody be safe out there and get back to the new norm. Thanks.
Have a great weekend. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.